right. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the weekly Wednesday coaching call. My name is Omar Pinto, and today we're just going to kick it off with Shannon. So, Shannon, how can we help?
Hi, guys. Shannon. Let me know if my video cuts out. I'm trying to get home to actual internet, but so I've had a lot of really great life changes, a lot of craziness, and I decided I went to a weight loss clinic the past twice now, just to kind of understand a little bit more of things that are just, I don't know, things just aren't working as far as weight loss goes, which is not all about my recovery, but I did these evaluations today, and I had this screening for apparently I have a binge eating disorder. And I guess it's fairly common. I was pretty open about my my recovery, and I guess it's fairly common for other addicts to have this kind of adaptation, because now I have no alcohol, and now it's kind of, I'm more embarrassed about it than I was, when I started to get sober, because I'm ew, I'm gross. I go and I really do go and hide, and I eat crazy amounts of crap. And I'm that's gross. What is wrong with me? And I didn't think about it until I got it put to pen and paper. And 2 years ago, before I got sober, I probably be a whole hot mess, angry, disgusted, embarrassed about this. But I'm really not, because it's okay. I'm not different than anybody else. The first thought in my head was cool, one more thing to add to your shit show. But I don't know, I'm just struggling to find an inner love with it, and to how to use my principles as far as the ones that I've learned in recovery to maybe help soften this as well.
Yes.
That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense, especially that last part about softening it up. So that would be really the first step. The first step would be to kind of start softening things up, because there's this, and by the way, are you still with me, Shannon?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me hold on. I'm going to run around.
Okay, go ahead.
Better service.
Go handle that first. Boy, Damian, look at this. You started something last week. All right. So let's give her a second.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I am back. Is that better?
That's perfect. That's good. Okay. So first of all, I want to honor you with that last statement you made, which is, I need to soften things up, because the more pressure that we put on ourselves, the more we're going to need to self-soothe. And, there's this binge eating disorder, so now yet another label. So I am a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a binge eater. It's how many labels can I possibly have? And the real danger of adding a label is we start to identify with it. Okay. If it's a behavior that I'm exuding and it has a label to it, then we have a tendency to identify with it and then create an identity. Right. And so once I have an excuse, I have a binge eating disorder, but I have ADD, but I'm an alcoholic. Right. So as soon as I'm able to attach myself to an identity, I also have an excuse. Right. What doesn't change is the shitty feeling that happens when you're hiding and eating. So let's remove the binge eating from the equation, and let's just look at the self-soothing. Okay, because I'm really just trying to feel something. When I was drinking, I was trying to feel something. Okay, when I was doing drugs, I was trying to feel something. And now with the food, I'm trying to feel something. So the important thing to do is to try and identify what it is that Shannon is trying to feel. Or we could even go the other route. What is Shannon not trying to feel? What is she trying to avoid feeling? So as I say that to you, what are you trying to feel, or what are you trying to avoid feeling? What feels more accurate?
Maybe avoid feeling, just because, with recovery and things like that, all that unearthed stuff just comes out.
So what is the most recent unearthed stuff that came out?
Setting some super hard boundaries with my mom. I'm proud of those, but it's also like kind of heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. So when you set those boundaries, what were the results or potential consequences?
I mean, it's really fun. She was definitely a narcissistic tendencies. She is also an alcoholic, so she doesn't ever admit to fault or blame. Like, nothing is ever her fault. Everything's done to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's never been a thing where it's like, wow, Shannon, I'm so sorry I did that to you. It's always, well, you did this, or I went to a boarding school, I left, so it was my fault that she drank, and things like that. So it's just kind of always, so I kind of just roll my eyes, and I've been brushing it off. But as of recent, she married the man that used to abuse me when I was growing up. And when I was in high school, my cousin finally had enough of it and told her she needed to choose me or this man. She chose him. I moved into my cousin's home, and then, cut to a few years later, obviously now they got back together and now they're married. And I had to make this hard boundary that she wanted my blessing or whatever. And I'm like, first of all, no, like, you're insane. And second of all, like, you can't be around my children if you have this man with you. So if that's what you're going to choose to do, then just know that his eyeballs and my kids' eyeballs are never allowed to look at each other. Like, I made that very black and white. And it's been like, she doesn't think that I'm serious. Like, every time I talk to her, she brings it up, or she says she's going to come visit us and he's going to drive her, or this, that. And I'm like, am I freaking insane? I know I've had, and I have to, honestly, like, I have to have my husband sit with me because she will make me think that I'm crazy. And so anyhow, I've realized that this feeling of like, I never came first. And now my kids don't get to come first for her. And I've been having these uneasy feelings. And I finally realized, like, it has to be that. Because now I'm grieving for my kids losing this, because she was a crap mom, but she's a really great grandma. And now they're going to miss out on that.
Okay. So now I'll ask you, do you have an overeating disorder?
I don't know. I think I have a love disorder.
Now we're talking. Okay. And I don't want to attach a label here, but here's what we have. We have a narcissistic parent who gaslights you. Okay. And so it doesn't matter how old you are. And I've just coached way too many people, Shannon. Okay. It doesn't matter how old you are. The one thing we want to hear most in the whole wide world is, honey, I'm so proud of you. Look at how amazing you're doing. Look at you. You quit drinking. You look beautiful. You've got these beautiful kids. Gosh, I'm so super proud of you. Love you so much. Yeah. As I say those words to you, what starts to come up for you?
It's just like heartbreaking. Like, I don't, like, it's very frustrating. Like, how can, like, you're essentially almost a stranger to me. We know each other through, Zoom or and Facebook and here, but like, you don't really know me. And my own mom can't say those words to me. Like, it's very upsetting.
Okay. So what we need to do is not avoid that. We need to honor that. We need to honor all of those feelings, because as we unpack this, as I say that to you, and I unpack this, a bunch of feelings came up as I said that to you. And so those are the feelings I'm either... Give me a sec. You're throwing me off, Shannon. I'm in my zone. I'm in my zone of greatness here.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry.
All right. So those words that just landed for you, everything that I just said that you'd hope that your mother would say for you, okay? A lot of feelings came up. So those are the feelings that you're either trying to avoid or are yearning for. Okay, so how I made you feel in that moment is probably something you've been yearning to feel for a long time. Like I matter. Like I'm important. Like all this hard work was for something. It wasn't just for nothing. And so this heavy boundary that you're setting with your mom, as we unpack this a little bit more, what is the most difficult aspect of setting that boundary with your mom?
I mean, I say it's like I'm sad for my kids or this or that, but I mean, it's sad for me. Like I don't, I miss having a person. Like my dad passed away when I was young, and like I don't have and it's just hard to accept that person chooses someone over their child.
Yes. Okay. So here's where we landed. It's hard to accept that my own mother would choose someone else over me and her grandchildren. And so right now, that's the pain that you're feeling. And so the food is allowing you to avoid that hurt. I don't want to think about the fact that my mom continues to let me down and disappoint me. Every time I go to see her, I have an unrealistic expectation, don't I? Maybe if I do this, she'll acknowledge me. Maybe if I do this, maybe if I stop drinking, maybe if I keep drinking, okay, maybe if I go to school, maybe if I have more kids, maybe if I do this, then just maybe she'll love me. And so this right here is what we really, it's so, Shannon, it's so delicate. And we must honor this, because it's the most natural thing that we have growing up as children, is this need to be seen and heard by our parents, because it means that we're valuable. It means that we're important. It means that we are loved. And so right now you're trying to figure out how to get around the obvious. My mother is incapable of giving me the love and validation that I need. Does that feel true? Okay. So now, as I unpack that, what's coming up for you now?
It's interesting. It's just a different take, and I knew you'd bring it into a different take, but I just it's a feeling that I'm new to, that I'm understanding, trying to wrap my head around, because I could feel these uncomfortable feelings, and I could feel sad, and I was feeling this and I was feeling that, and I thought that was enough. Cool, I'm living in my emotion, and I'm not running away from it, but why do I feel like that? So it's nice to be able to put a label on it, in a sense, to put a name to it, so that I can process better.
And guess what, Shannon? It's okay to say, you know what? This is not fair. Okay, this is not fair. And I don't like this. This is not what I wanted. It's okay, right? So what I might invite you to do is do a little more writing, okay? And so from this place of awareness, it might be a good idea to just start with, I am no longer willing to tolerate. I'm no longer willing to accept X, Y, and Z. You know, my mother's inability to love me, my mother's inability to stop gaslighting me. My mother's narcissism, right? It could be, this has got to be coming from you. But ultimately, there is this piece of information that's just been kind of missing. Like there's this little piece of information here. It's like, I know I feel down. I know I feel sad. I know I feel uncomfortable, right? I know I'm angry because my mother chose this or chose him over me and my kids. But what is it specifically, right? And so ultimately, it's this sense of injustice. Like, why me? What did I do? I'm trying to do the best I can here, right? And so let's give Shannon a break, and then we have to give your mom a break. Because she's got no idea what she's doing, Shannon. Okay. And she's not capable of giving you what you need. But that does not mean you have to fucking tolerate it. You do not have to tolerate. That's the most important of everything that I'm just saying to you right now. You do not have to tolerate. You can embrace it. You can honor it. You can recognize it. Acceptance is the key. But I don't have to tolerate it. Right? So I don't have to bring it into my home. I don't have to show up over there and try my best to get her approval and validation and, stand on my head or juggle or whatever it is that I have to do. And I just go, you know what? I'm going to let this go. But I'm also not going to allow her to come into my home and disrespect me and cross my boundaries. So I know it starts with the food eating. Okay. But that's always just the thing. Okay. I'm either trying to feel something. Last week, it was about feeling joy. And this week is about avoiding feeling let down and disappointed by my mother. And that's probably why you drank. And that's probably why you use different methods to escape. It's because this is the one thing that's the most painful in my life. Would you agree? So is there anything else? Did I miss anything? Do you have any questions? You good? I see you smiling. Look at that. Oh, she's like, okay. All right. We're good. All right. Well, thank you, Shannon. Thank you for being vulnerable. All right. So we're only 20 minutes into the call. So who would either like to add to what we just unpacked there? Maybe somebody's got some mommy issues they want to unpack or daddy issues. Or is there someone who has something else they'd like a little help with? Okay, I'm going to put Damian in the hot spot just because I want to get an update. So give me a little bit of an update since our last call.
I've been calling you my dopamine pusher to my wife. So and I left our call last week like really, really excited. Put a few little ground rules in place. She's been getting the dopamine hit from little reward systems that we're looking forward to, and one of them was my mum's birthday coming up, so we made that our fortnightly takeout night and treated mum as well, and I've actually got all these happy thoughts around food now, instead of miserable, upsetting ones. And the more I am happy about the food, the less I just want to eat it for the sake of it. I've found myself now waiting and actually letting myself get hungry, which is something I don't think I've done in years. I can't ever remember that feeling hungry, to actually getting hungry and really looking forward to, whatever's on the menu, because, like, I'm very lucky that, my wife's an amazing cook and I'm not too bad to cook myself. So yeah, after our call last week, I've found I'm really enjoying what I eat now, and monitoring it so much better. And yeah, you've put the joy back into it, which I thought was silly to say, because I thought that's why I did it, because it was so joyful. But it wasn't, as we spoke about. It was actually, I was getting miserable about eating. So yeah, you've put the fun back in food, though, that's for sure.
Music to my ears, Damian. I love it. And guess what? Every time you delay gratification, you release dopamine.
Yep.
So
Yep.
It's like, once you learn it, that's the beautiful thing. Once you start to learn the trick, okay, then it's like, you know what? I'm going to wait a little bit longer, right?
Yep.
I'm going to wait even a little bit longer now, right? I'm going to try and push it. I love that feeling of being hungry. Okay. So even me, more recently, I removed bread from my diet. Okay. Because for me, gluten is a problem. Okay. But there was a part of me that for a while was like, you know what? I can deal with the gluten. I love the bread, right? I really enjoy the bread. And so at some point, what started to happen was I stopped losing that feeling of hunger, because the bread kept me either bloated or feeling full a lot longer, And so I was like, okay, so let me try this. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that I enjoy not eating bread, because I will be honest with you. One of the things I enjoy the most is bread. Okay. However, between that feeling of like hunger and like the bloating is gone, that sense of like
Awesome.
being that inflammation feeling, right? It's like when I think about bread now, instead of registering as yummy bread, it registers as, oh, do you want to feel bloated again? Okay. So there's this little voice that comes in now after I've kind of tested the waters. And I did it recently. Like this weekend, I went out and I actually had some bread, and I was like, right. And so boom, it was like a quick little like, wow, this is working. And it made me like, it pumped me up about my choice. Like I felt really good, because there's always going to be little Omar in there. Little Omar wants to eat ice cream. He wants to eat ham sandwiches. He wants to forget everything about exercise. He just wants to enjoy himself, 24/7, right? But there's also a very adult Omar that exists that now goes, hey, we could do that. But, just a little bit, just a little reminder. It could be a little of that bloatingness, right? And it becomes very soft. And it sounds like that's what's happening with you, Damon. The softness, we start to soften those edges, and we change the way we talk to ourselves. As soon as we start to change the way we talk to ourselves, it's called reparenting. Okay. And we can talk to the younger version of ourselves as the adult, right? In that beautiful way that we always craved, growing up. Anything else, Damian?
Yeah, look, that makes so much sense, though. And just you saying that, I'm just sort of reflecting that, with drugs and alcohol, I knew I had to go, it was either all or nothing. And that's what scared me with food. It's like, I can't go nothing. But yeah, you've helped me, and I'm still working on it. Is that relationship now that I have with food. And as I said, you've put the fun back into food, and yeah, I'm really happy.
I love it, buddy.
Thank you.
Love and joy, my
Yes.
friend. That's at our essence. It's at our core. All right. So Tori just joined us. Travis just joined us. Okay. Does anyone, we're currently like, who's next? So Tori, how's life on the road? Oh, no, wait, Samantha, go.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, I just like to, I guess, give an update too on a situation I had with my husband. I had a few months ago, a friendship turned into an emotional affair. with somebody in recovery, and it was this kind of long road, but you know, I was like, okay, well, I'm committed to my marriage. I want to work on my marriage. I was really scared about it at first, kind of going into it blind and really kind of out of pride, like, because I'm married. I made that commitment. And what are you supposed to do, right? For better or worse, that's what they say. So, you know, just to give up because I don't feel those feelings anymore, you know, like, but I was really scared I wasn't ever going to get those feelings back for my husband. And but I ended the emotional affair, and it's been this really long process with us. And my husband told me I can't have any contact with the guy, like end, you know, everything, you know, just basically like as if he didn't exist or dropped off the face of the earth or something. And it seemed at the time like that seems pretty reasonable. So so I did that. And as I've made progress, worked on myself, worked through my issues with my marriage, that boundary that he set for me just really started to not feel right. And then I doubt myself, thinking, you know, that's the addiction, right? That's me wanting to go back to this comfort, to this, you know, this feeling that I miss. And you know, and as I've been healing and growing and doing a lot of different things, you know, this guy, he's in the same recovery group as me. I have no ill will towards him, and vice versa. So sometimes we get lumped into like the same text group or email chain, or, you know, something like that. We haven't really done a lot of in-person meetings here lately. So I haven't seen him in any meetings, but a couple of workshops, things like that. And, you know, it would just like make me feel a little guilt or a little shame if it was in there, and thinking like, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm focused on my marriage, but then I have to decide to keep it from my husband. And now I'm lying and deceiving, or tell him and then have him freak out because it's this huge trigger for him. And fortunately, with Omar's help, I was able to work through this issue we had, where he was in a text chain, but he had said, you know, he had mentioned me personally, and so I felt like I had to tell my husband. Well, he mentioned my name, and so I responded, and I just wanted to let you know. Bad idea on so many levels. But what Omar helped me with is realizing that was not my boundary that I set. It was my husband's boundary that he set for me. And I'm not a child, I'm an adult. And so there was just this part of me, that inner teen, I think, that was like, you know, don't fucking tell me what to do. And I had to contend with that. So I set my own boundaries, with telling my husband, like, he can't look at my phone, telling him I'm not going to pretend like this guy fell off the face of the earth. I know in my heart I'm working on my marriage, and this guy is not going to ruin that for me again. And he's not my focus. I don't want to go out and be his best friend again or anything like that. It's just, if we see each other, whatever. If, you know, if he sends a text message, whatever. And it's my job, it's my work, and I trust myself to do the right thing, and that I have been. And so I set that boundary, and my husband freaked out. I told him, you know, he really freaked out, and he really got critical towards me, and I told him that's not okay either. I had to set another boundary, and it was just like, it was like a child having a tantrum. But I wanted to update you, Omar, and say that this morning, my husband came up to me and just like very emotional, and he's emotionally hungover from yesterday too. But saying like, I understand that you are saying you don't want to be friends with this guy. You want to respect him like a human being. And and I hear that and understand that. And, and he's like, I just have so much emotion. I don't know what to do with it. And, and then I hugged him, and I was like, told myself, I'm not going to let go until he's ready to let go. And my arms are so fucking tired. But yeah, I really wanted to thank you for that. And I mean, your coaching helped, and it's just really important. And I think it's kind of what we have heard a little bit today too, with the boundaries, that it's really hard to set those. And especially for me, coming from a place where I did something wrong, and I have that feeling of like, well, not that I deserve to be punished, but it kind of does come off that way, that, oh, like I can't handle my own shit, so someone else needs to dole out rules for me, and that I just accept it. And, and learning that even when I am wrong, that's still not okay, because I'm not a kid, I'm an adult. And, yeah. So
it ended quite beautifully,
Yeah. I know it's still like, I'm not saying like, he's just, turned a new leaf or anything. And I told him I said, I know you have trust issues, and I'm not helping, I'm not helping that, but they are your trust issues, and you have to decide, like, are you going to trust me, or is there someone else better out there for you? I mean, it's really hard for me to say that. And even this morning, I was thinking, when I was journaling, I was like, there might be somebody else out there that's better for him than me. And it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person or I'm not good enough. It just means our boundaries are different, and we require different things in order to feel like we're getting the love that we need. And it's so weird, because I'm like, if he actually did choose that, I'd be heartbroken. But I'm also like super calm and like confident about that. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, I want him to be happy, and I want to be happy. And if we're not able to do that together, then we can, talk about that and figure it out some other way. But fortunately, he's settling and calming down, and it's not over yet. It's still to be continued, and more will be revealed. So
yeah, it's that terrifying moment. It's that terrifying moment when it's time for us to stand up for ourselves, especially when we've never done it in our lives. Okay. We've never been taught how to set boundaries, and we've never been taught how to stand up for ourselves. So, most of the time when somebody gets on a one-on-one with me, right, it's about really unpacking all of the shame, unpacking all of the limiting beliefs that were implanted or programmed in, that made us believe that we didn't have the right to set our own boundaries. We didn't have the right to speak up for ourselves. And even if we made a mistake, like all of a sudden it's a life sentence, so now I'm punished for life. But sometimes the other person needs that hard boundary set. Okay. And the harder the boundary is, like, the clearer, right? The clearer the path gets. Because when the boundaries are not very firm and they're not, clearly defined, then it leads to uncertainty and ambiguity. And when you have ambiguity in a marriage or in a relationship, it leads to a lot of distrust. So if I'm wide open, I said, here's my boundary. Here is absolutely what I can commit to. Then the other person, all they have to do is say, okay, yes, okay, great. Okay, so I can agree to that. Or no, I don't agree to that boundary. We need a different boundary. And so at some point, there's going to be a very clear set of boundaries, or the big fear is it doesn't work out. But my, usually when that happens, I want you to imagine what happened 2 days ago. Okay. And I want you to imagine 5 years from now. And I want you to imagine that is still your life.
Yeah. And that's
Are you willing to live your life
yeah,
in ambiguity for the next 5 years,
right.
or in punishment, or feeling as though I don't have the right to stand up for myself or speak for myself?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we know what happens when that happens. The shadow eventually comes out and starts burning things to the ground.
Yep. I
So
know that one.
I'm super proud of you, because that was hard. I know I knew going out from our session, it was not going to be easy, but you know what? You stepped up, right? And
Yeah.
it ended up being a beautiful moment, because I think above anything else, what it proved is that your husband needed to feel you.
Yeah.
He needed that embrace. He needed to, it needed to go beyond words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you cross that threshold of, the blah, blah, blah. Right. And we
Mhm.
move into this sense of feeling, right? We need that. We
Yeah.
need physical contact in a marriage for it to feel like it's real.
Yeah.
Right. So it looks like that's what happened. So I'm proud of you.
Yeah. And I you told me before we ended the call, go into it like an adult,
Yes.
right? No, none of that like, well,
Uh-uh.
I'm gonna say, which is which what I normally do, like a little tap on the door, hello, test the waters first. Yeah, I came into it like an adult, and I maintained it like an adult when he turned into a kid. And to be able to, even when he was being critical and judgmental, and when he was, angry, I had that boundary, but I had compassion, and like was there to like listen, like kind of let him like sort of let it out. But when it got towards me, I said, that's unacceptable. And when he started getting back onto his own feelings, but he would say like, oh, you're not supporting me, or you don't understand where I'm coming from. And I say, no, I do hear you. And I'm here for you. I'm not doing it in the way that you want me to be doing it. And I know it feels like I'm not.
Excellent.
So it was, and I felt really good about it. This morning, a little bit of that insecurity and doubt came up too. And I also honored that. And I'm like, yeah, I know this is new. And, yeah, is it right? Am I doing the right thing? But it's hard to beat that. You know what? I checked myself, and I know I'm doing the right thing for me right now. And if and when that changes, I can change that. I can change my mind. I can change my boundary, and that doesn't make anything a mistake or a failure, or, whatever it is, even if it is a mistake or a failure, those don't have the same, like, palpable, like, negativity.
It no longer, it doesn't carry the weight that it used to.
Yeah.
It doesn't carry that weight.
So it was very powerful. And I had a very emotional day and a busy day, but I felt great at the end of the day. And I was just amazed, sitting outside while my dogs were doing their business. At the end of the day, I was just like, I got fresh air. I'm alive. I'm stable. I am good, man. Like, this is awesome. And, and I wouldn't be able to do that without recovery and without you as a coach. I would not. I've come a long way, and I know I put one foot in front of the other, but I've had a lot of help, and it comes from this meeting too. So I really, really appreciate it. So.
Beautiful. I love it. So we're lots of good success stories today. I like it. So it seems like the theme today is boundaries, standing up for ourselves, and recognizing when we've lost our sovereignty, when we've lost our autonomy, when we've lost the ability to choose for ourselves because we're either allowing someone else to make the choices for us, or we're waiting for someone else to validate us. Okay. And so we may or may not set boundaries based on that need for approval. So that's kind of what's shown up on today's call. So does anyone want to add to that? Or is there someone else that needs a little help? Julia.
Did my forehead read I want to talk or what?
Yeah, I saw you. There was this, I go, it's like, ooh, she's that getting ready to, I'm not sure if I want to, not sure, but I want to. Okay.
Well, I will just quickly share a boundary lesson that has been huge. So I put in my 2-week notice on Friday to take a new opportunity, and I've only been at my current firm 11 months. And the new opportunity is way better for me in so many ways. But I had immense guilt and just trepidation over leaving where I'm at. I mean, I was an absolute wreck last week. Could not hold it together when I talked to anybody, and all the emotion coming out is a culmination of a whole bunch of other things in the last couple of months, but it was so intense. And yet, if you look at the pros and cons list of the new opportunity versus the old, or the current, it's like a no-brainer, but it's so hard to stand up for what you want and take a stand and make those choices when you've lived a life of people pleasing and not boundary setting and always worried about everybody else's well-being but your own. And so that was just a huge lesson for me. And I mean, still this week, luckily, most people have been very supportive about it, but there's still so many thoughts in my head, like, oh, they must think I'm so flaky, and they must be so disappointed in me, and they're probably all talking behind my back. And I've just been worried sick about all the crap that they're saying. And yeah, I just can't believe at my age and stage of my career that it was so difficult for me to make that choice.
Well, the rescuer is still very much alive inside of you, Julia. So, the word I was waiting for that did surface was disappointed. I'm worried that they're so disappointed in me. So if they are disappointed in you, what does that mean? And why is that so bad?
Because it goes back to how badly I want to be liked and loved and supported and cheered on. And it's like, what a huge lesson on just giving that to myself and not needing it from other people. And I related to the first person who spoke on here about getting her mother's support and approval, and just like, I'm proud of you. Like, those words never come out of my mom's mouth. And yeah, it's just like that constant seeking for the external validation and wanting to be the popular one. Like, I want to make everyone happy all the time. And I've been like that my whole life, and it's so exhausting.
So there's a belief system here it feels like there's a belief system here, that there's like a pain point here, One of which is like, let me see if I can get to it through you. So if I disappoint my job, it means
that I'm unreliable, I'm flaky, I'm not committed. I run when things get hard. Like that crossed my mind a lot. It's like, am I just running away because this current place is just not working for me? Or am I following what my gut is like screaming at me? And ultimately, at the end of the day, like I'm not running away just because this place isn't perfect. I'm running away because not running away. I'm taking another opportunity because it fits me better. And I know I'm not flaky and unreliable, but I have so much imposter syndrome, like, and I work in an industry, like how I ended up. I should be like an outdoor hiking guide / yoga and meditation teacher / retreat coordinator. Like that is what I should be. And instead I work in a really hot, like male dominated finance world where like super intelligent people. So the bar is set really high and I'm constantly feeling like not good enough. And it's like, oh, that's interesting that I chose this line of work and I've been in this line of work for 20 years because it shows me every day how inadequate I am. It just and I've known this for a while, but it's like I'm finally seeing the connection between how it has affected me physically, like just the tension in my body. And so, and all those years of those feelings of not feeling good enough at work and never being smart enough and doing good enough and working hard enough and being productive enough just flooded me last week when I was trying to put in my notice to quit this job.
What are you trying to prove, Julia?
That I'm valuable, that I'm needed.
Sit with that for a minute. There's only one reason a woman goes into a male-dominated financial world. Is when I don't feel good enough, let me prove that I'm better than. I can do this better than any man. I'll show them. So as soon as I start to pick up on that, immediately it's like, what are you trying to prove? That I'm valuable, that I'm needed. And who are you trying to
make my parents proud?
That was my next question. Who am I trying to prove myself to? And it ain't the men in your industry.
No. It's all outside image, all of it.
And so, I remember I had a buddy of mine that every time I asked him how he was doing, he would say, I'm just a clean-cut kid from California trying to make my mama proud, right? And it would just be the funniest thing in the world. Of course, the level of dysfunction there runs deep. And so here we are again, clean-cut girl trying to make her mama proud. Yeah. And there's just no way. I'm never going to hear what it is that I want to hear. I'm never going to feel what it is I want to feel because I'm trying to receive that from a place that does not give what it is that I
Yeah.
need. And it is painful because there's a part of you that it's like, you know, how many degrees do you have, Julia?
I have a master's and a bachelor's.
Okay. So, you know, I got the bachelor's degree. Is this good enough now, Mom? Okay, no. Okay, I got the master's degree. How about now? Okay. I'm making 6 figures. How about now? Is that it? I'm killing it in the male industry. How about now? Right? I bought my first house, Mom. What about now? Right. And so there's this constant like this. And now here's the beauty of all that. You're probably a very successful woman. So
That I am.
okay. All right. So we can, you know, like, thanks, Mom. Thanks for giving me thanks for giving me nothing so I could get it all myself. And so one thing that I can own is that I don't need someone else's approval to go out and kill it.
Yeah.
I can go out and dominate. I can go out and be successful. I can go out and do pretty much whatever I want. And as long as I don't tie that to this need for approval from others,
Yeah.
then we can do what ultimately Damon was talking about last week. I can finally enjoy it.
Yeah. That's what I am working towards, because there have been periods when I left my corporate life altogether. I had like 17 years, and then I said, peace out. I thought I was going to completely change my life, and I failed miserably. And it's like, it's because the problem is not the job and the career. The problem are all my thoughts around it. And so it's learning how to being able to stay in a career like this, because it provides me so much, and go about it without that constant need for approval, like you just said.
So I don't know if we did this last time, but we're going to do it again, even if we did. So repeat after me. I forgive myself.
I forgive myself
For ever believing that I needed my parents' approval in order to feel valuable and feel needed. Now, how does that feel inside you?
It feels good.
Let's try it one more time. I forgive myself.
I forgive myself
Forever believing that I needed my parents' approval in order to feel valuable and needed. Can you tell me the exact feelings coming up right now?
I don't know, just sadness. And when I think about like all the years, it exhausts, like it's so tiring. I feel tired. That's what I feel. And I want to forgive myself, and I know I can forgive myself. Yeah, it's energy sucking.
Yes.
To live like that.
Deep breath in. Let it go. I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
You can even say, I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. Say it. I'm so exhausted.
So exhausted.
I'm so tired.
I'm so tired.
Here's my need for approval. I'm going to just chuck it. I don't need this anymore. It's so exhausting. Oh, it's so heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah. In the last couple of days, having conversations with the people I feared most, they're just like, great, we support you, you know? It's like, no, yeah, it sucks, but you know,
That's what great people do, Julia.
it's not, yeah.
So boundaries are designed to cut the toxic narcissists out of our lives. Okay. And then once we cut them out, we've got all this time and space for people that actually care about us.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you leave their homes, you don't feel completely like your battery just got drained. Okay. You actually feel like your battery is full. And with those people, that doesn't take very much. They're just there and they want nothing from you except to spend time with you and to support you in any way that you need.
Yeah, it's just been a good reminder to go through this and just remember that, like, the right people will support you. Like, you don't have to be so worried about their approval. I mean, I shouldn't worry about them no matter who they are, but
But you see, you're already self-correcting. You just self-corrected right there. Oh, wait, I don't, if they're good people, wait, oh, I don't need their approval. Huh.
yeah.
Go figure. Amazing.
Yeah, I don't need anyone's approval but my own.
When we're around healthy individuals, they're not there needing you to make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
Ooh,
interesting.
I feel like you let something go in there.
Yeah,
I feel you lighter.
The reason I was struggling so hard, because last time I did this 3 years ago, when I left a place I'd been at for a really long time, it did not go over well at all. And that person, like, flew off the handle. And so I had all these fears that, like, I would disappoint people again after that. And when you say that, he was not a very healthy individual. And the people I work with now, you know, are probably more healthy in themselves. So they were like, okay, we support you, you know.
See, that's when you know you're around healthy people.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they support you no matter what. That's the key.
Yeah.
You get support no matter what. Julia, great job today.
Thank you. Thanks for all your help.
All right, kids, top of the hour. Anybody have any last words? Are we good? All right, we're good. Love you all. Sending you so much love from Costa Rica, and we'll see you next Wednesday, same time. Ciao, everybody.
Thank